Hi guys, Rachel Brenke from TheLawTog, the go-to legal resource for photographers. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about protecting your photography business, especially when you're working with pets. I want to walk through the legal client timeline of what you need to have to protect your photography business and ultimately yourself. These documents are going to be in priority order and chronological order, so that makes it really easy for you guys to understand. The very first document you need to start with is the pet photography contract. This is the contract that is the main document that creates the legal relationship between you and the client. This is going to outline things such as retainer, when they should arrive, coverage, vaccinations, release of photographer liability for any injury or damage, payment schedule, circumstances of pet's disposition, accidental waste, the requirement of pet history disclosure, the preparation of the animal, and so on and so forth. These are all of the things, not that whole list that I just gave you, but this contract should hold all the things that you need to protect your photography business and to protect your clients as well. You guys are going to use this contract in a couple of ways. Well, legal protection tool. It's also going to be a legal structure for you guys to develop this relationship on. You're going to be able to have legal miscellany in there also that will demonstrate what law you want to apply to govern the contract. If you have an issue, where are you guys going to resolve that issue? Like what court will it be in or what method will you use? Another way that you can use this contract is to be also a kind of a backbone to help you out should you ever want to be able to say no to a client but you're not sure how to do it. Let the contract do it for you. You're going to have signed this before you ever put them on to your calendar. Hopefully contract and payment. Because remember, this contract creates the legal relationship between the two of you. You want to give the client plenty of time to read, understand, ask questions. You want to do it before the session as much as possible. Now, a couple other things to consider though when you're doing this, you also need to have a release for the pet itself. This is where it can get a little tricky. Typically in portraiture, we have model releases, which I'll talk about in a little bit. That is for when humans are in the photographs. Overall, you probably don't necessarily need to have a property release for an animal or a pet that's in the photograph unless they're a celebrity animal, right? You never know. They may have some publicity rights to the claim of their image, much like humans have. So I'm going to go ahead and include in the pet photography contract here a property release so you guys don't even have to worry about it. It's already included. So the pet photography contract is the first document you need to be most concerned about and have. Non-negotiable. Cannot shoot without this, cannot shoot without payment, right? Now the second priority document, if you're going to have human beings in the photographs, is going to be the model release. And this does two things. One, it is the client giving you, the photographer, permission for use of the client's image, face, not the photograph. Okay, so don't get that confused. You, the photographer, are going to still retain copyright ownership of the images that you're photographing. But the client still retains, and the client being the human client, still retains the right over their publicity rights. They still retain that control. And what your model release should do is two things. One, we've established, it gives you, the photographer, permission for use of their face in marketing. This is them giving up some of their privacy rights and extending this to you so that you can photograph and use their images in your commercial marketing. Again, their image, their face, not their photographs. That's the difference. That's copyright versus publicity rights. Okay? The second thing that a model release for a human should do, it should waive compensation for claims. This, if you have a savvy lawyer who drafted it for you, or and if you're on the Brent end of it, one of your clients has a savvy lawyer, is a savvy lawyer themselves, and realizes they could receive compensation for you using their image, their face in marketing, without them waiving this compensation, you may end up having to pay them out for all the times you've used their face in marketing. So the second thing the model release should do, should waive any compensation claims that they may have for your use of their face in marketing. Now, I do allow, and this is talked a little bit more when we are in full-fledged portraiture or just humans, that you do allow for waiving of the model release. Always have a model release no matter what. However, there are circumstances where clients, human clients, don't want their faces to be used in marketing or on the internet. Maybe they have an occupation that does not allow them to do so. I'm of the camp that you should allow a human client to waive a model release. I would rather have this session with them and be able to photograph them and get the referrals out of them as opposed to having a couple images to use for marketing purposes. However, each of you can run your business however you want to do it. Just keep in mind that this is why I also separate out the model release. So you can just easily nix it if you never need to use it. There's also the option of the limited releases as well to narrowly tailor the model release to maybe help that human client feel a little bit more comfortable. Now, also, this comes around to why I also keep the documents separate for best legal practices. Should one ever become invalidated, then the other one will still stand. While these documents are often delivered together, the contract and the model release together, you can separate them out, or you can make it fairly cohesive delivery with the use of digital contracts these days. So those are the main contracts that you guys want to get started with. It's the pet photography contract with the release for the pet inside, as well as the model release for the humans that are going to be in the photographs you're taking. So let's walk along this timeline. We are now to deliver digital files. If that's what you're selling to your clients, you need something that's called a print release. This print release is you, the photographer, giving the client or selling the client, transferring to the client, licensing to the client. You hear all sorts of terms, but it is transferring to the client a license of use for personal use of the digital files that you have taken and you've delivered to them. In this document, you outline how they can use them, how not, how many times they can reproduce. You can set the specifications, whatever fits to your comfort level and business model. Now, trucking along, I also have included in the bundles below a pet photography questionnaire. This is not really a legal document, that's why I'm not really starting off with it here, but it can be used at the very beginning when you have your clients coming in the door so that you can get some information from them to better understand the pet, the history, and how the session is going to play out, as well as the relationship with the owner. And one final document that I have on here that I think is really important for all people who love pets to have, photographers that is the Pet Rescue Volunteer Photography Contract, because there are many shelters around the country that do not have a photographer on staff to help these pets to get adopted. Many of them are sitting in shelters for years. As I record this video, and as you may have heard, 2 of my shelter dogs that I have adopted have been wandering around the studio here grunting and groaning. And you know what? One of them I picked just because, not because it had a good photograph, but I was able to see a really good photograph, see it online, just scrolling through social media one day. I was attracted by the photography, I was attracted by the attractive photo, and I went down there and I adopted her, and she's been with us for almost 2 years now. Now, they have shown in studies that professional photography and better images can better sell, and I don't mean sell in the sense that we're selling these animals, but they can better sell or better create attention to these animals who are sitting in shelters all around the country. That's why I include this Pet Rescue Volunteer Photography Contract, because I really want to encourage you guys who have the skills as photographers, you have the hearts as pet lovers to be able to combine these two together to be able to help many animals that are sitting in shelters. This contract goes between you and the shelter. Some of them may have their own legal documents, some may not, and they ask you to bring it to the table, and that's where this comes in. This creates the legal relationship between the two of you, defines the expectations, responsibilities, and again, this is for volunteer photography. It's not intended to be a for-profit contract, but it is there to protect both parties and in the end to benefit the sweet animals. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to pop it through the contact form. Myself or my team are happy to assist you in any capacity that we can. And again, remember, you never have an issue till you have an issue, and I don't want you guys stuck with that, so make sure you stay protected.